Hi guys, it's Samantha. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about books. And more specifically, if you guessed my April TBR, you would be correct because that's what we're discussing today. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that this is a very overly ambitious list of books. However, I've been mood reading last month. That's why there wasn't any like TBR. I've just been kind of mood reading, kind of doing what I want to do. And it's put me obviously in a mood. So I went to my TBR cart and I literally picked out every single fantasy or sci-fi book that just, called out to me. Some of them are brand new, some of them are older, so I'm excited to get some like older books off my TBR, but it is a lot of them and I highly doubt that I will read all of them. It would be pretty much a miracle if I did. But we're going to talk about them anyways, because that's why we're here. We're going to talk about the books. Whether or not I read them, I guess you guys will have to subscribe and figure that out later in the month when I do my wrap up. But let's go ahead and jump into it. The first book that I'm going to be reading in April is The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. This is going to be a buddy read with Jessie. Absolutely love Jessie. I'm going to link her Instagram down below. You guys should go give her a follow. But anyways, I am going to be reading The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice, and I'm excited. I held off on reading An Interview with a Vampire for so long, and when I finally read it, and read The Mummy by Anne Rice, I realized that I'm in love. I'm in love with Anne Rice. I am ready. I'm just like craving some like subtly sensuous, lyrical writing. I'm ready for like the gothic, horror, bloody, classic vampire vibes that this book I'm hoping has. So we're gonna continue with the I forget what trilogy or what it's called, like the whole trilogy, the Vampire Chronicles. I'm gonna continue with the Vampire Chronicles. We're gonna see how this one goes. I'm excited. It's about like a 500-page book. If you guys didn't know, this follows a character from An Interview with a Vampire, Lestat, and it is the 1980s and he is a rock star. He is a vampire rock star. From my understanding, he also meets up with the Queen of the Damned. So yeah, just like really just classic vampire gothic vibes. I mean, what could be more rock star than a vampire? Am I not right? But yes, highly interested in this. We're gonna give that a go, like right off. Like we're beginning April with that one. The next one that I want to read is going to be a NetGalley ARC that I received like a very long time ago. I kind of want to put in requests for other ARCs, so I wanted to go ahead and like clear one off of my TBR. This one's called The Boy You Always Wanted by Michelle Juan. I'll put it up here. This is basically a book about, I believe there's like a fake dating romance trope in there. The main character and her father don't have the greatest relationship because her father, she knows that her father always wanted a son and instead had her. She realizes that one of her best like guy friends and her father admires one of her best guy friends. So I believe they hatch a plan to do like a fake dating trope in order for her to get closer to her father. Sounds very heartfelt. It sounds like it's going to be fairly emotional, and it is the only book on this that is not a sci-fi fantasy. Like I said, just kind of wanted to dive into it and read a review. I believe it's out August 1st of 2023, so you still have plenty of time to get reviews on it, decide whether or not you want to read it as well. But yes, I am interested. I love the cover of this book, by the way. I love this art. It is beautiful. I don't know who designed the art cover. If I am able to look it up, like I said, it is an ARC, so I don't know how much information is out there yet, but if I'm able to look it up, I will put the artist's name somewhere along here because it's beautiful. Love it. Honestly, that's what made me want to request it. The next book is going to be The Unbroken by C.L. Clark. So I have seen this on so many booktubers channels, so I'm excited to read it myself. It's been out for quite a while. I think I picked this up as soon as the paperback had come out. But this one is about a conscript soldier. Basically this empire took over her world, took her back to their home base, trained her as a soldier, and now years later, she's going back to her original planet, and while she's there, she meets a rebel leader who's actually from the empire she's adopted. Fairly confusing synopsis. It's even a synopsis, so it's not just me. Okay, guys, it is a confusing synopsis on the back too. However, it's an intriguing idea to have like someone from a conquered land who has now been working for an empire, meeting up with someone from an empire who is now the rebel, and the dynamics there. I'm intrigued to read. This is a fairly large sci-fi book, but I am excited. I think it's sci-fi. I think oh no, it's fantasy. I don't know why I got like, this is a fantasy book. For some reason I got like sci-fi vibes, like space, and I think it's the way that they phrase it with like the Empire and the Rebellion. In my mind, when you hear Empire and Rebellion, I immediately go to Star Wars and then sci-fi. Am I wrong for that? I don't know, but this is a fantasy book, so I'm assuming that there must be some fantastical elements, which will be fairly intriguing. I've noticed lately with fantasy, it's like very subtle magic systems and stuff like that, so we'll see if that one follows the same trend. I don't know. The next one I'm going to be reading is The Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri. Same thing. I've seen it on a lot of booktubers channels, and so therefore it found its way to this TBR. This one is about a princess who is entrapped by her brother, who is the reigning king or leader of the nation that they run. While she is locked away, she meets up with a maidservant who is a rebellion leader and they join forces in order to overthrow her brother. So yes, those are the vibes we're going with. I am incredibly excited about this. And once again, it's a fairly chunky fantasy book. There are going to be fantastical elements in this one too. And yeah, I just love this cover. I love these covers. We're gonna discuss the covers here in just a second. Just a second. Okay, the next one is going to be The Bone Shard's Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This is a trilogy. I believe all the books are now out, but I'm just now beginning it. This one is about an emperor who's able to use like almost like dark magic. He's able to draw power from bones and reanimate bones, from my understanding, and he's kind of like created an army and a guard force built out of these creations. His daughter does not quite approve of how he's leading their empire, so she decides to learn this magic herself in order to overthrow her father, and she finds out that there's consequences to using this magic. Who would have thought? We had to discuss this as well. Apparently the trend is like Immigrant Soldier taking over, right? Okay, cool. And then we have like sister taking down brother, and then we have daughter taking down father. Like, I'm kind of into it, like strong female characters in sci-fi fantasies taking down entire governments. Or like, yeah, government systems. I'm not mad about it. I kind of miss that, you know? Like, I'm a dystopian child, so like Hunger Games. I wasn't a fan of Divergent, but like that whole genre of like young YA female main character who has absolutely no skills taking down an entire government system, and I'm like not mad. I'm not mad. Obviously, like, these characters are, I'm hoping, will be more developed than our, you know, OG YA female main characters, but we will see. I'll keep you updated on that one. The next book is going to be, I think I'm going to talk about Persephone Station by Stina Lecht. So this was definitely a cover by. As far as synopsises go, I can't tell you much about this one because, like I said, it's a cover by. Look at the pink. I love the pink, and I like this like cyborg sort of situation going on in the front. I thought this was a really kick-ass cover. Let me see. Cover design by Emma A. Van Duan. I'll put her name down here as well so you can look her up. Love this. Okay, but anyways, this one is a sci-fi. It is not a fantasy. This is about an ex-Marine who is hired by a bar owner to do a job, and while doing this job accidentally sets off, I don't want to say a war, a conflict with the reigning empire. Once again with empire. We need to keep a tally on how many times I've said empire, but yes, that is where this is going. Yeah, once again, strong female main character taking down an empire. We have a trend. Maybe I should rank these at the end of like reading them during my wrap up, so like you guys can get the gist of which one I like the most. Next is going to be The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. So this is about a priestess who her sole priority is to protect the soldiers that she's assigned to. However, she's reassigned to protect a captain, and apparently there's like a romance subplot. Along with the romance subplot, there's also a revenge plot. So another, I'm gonna say soldier. Yeah, another soldier, one of his counterparts, was killed in a conflict involving the captain, and he has decided to take revenge on the captain because he blames him for his lover's death. So obviously there's going to be some conflict there. Obviously I'm fairly excited about it. This is the other trend we need to discuss, by the way. The strong female main character is sitting in the middle of the cover with really cool backgrounds. Like, I'm kind of into it. Like, I'm a lot into it, actually. I love this trend. And I feel like, oh, Some Desperate Glory did this as well, which is a new release, by the way. It's amazing. 5 out of 5. I'll give you spoilers for my March wrap-up. Loved that. But anyways, yeah, the main character in the middle of a book cover, I'm loving it. I'm loving that trend. Keep it up. Alright, the next one, speaking of which, the last, as you can see, main female character standing in the middle of a really cool background. This is Deadly Dreams by KJ Sutton. This is the 3rd book in the Fortuna Sworn series. Absolutely love the series. If you are into dark fantasy romances and also ACOTAR, and you're like in that genre of like fae romance, you know, like check it out. So, it is dark. Fair warning. The first book also, and I hate it when people say this, so like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be that cliche. The first book is okay, it's decent, but you can definitely tell like the real development happens in the second book, and by the end of the second book I was invested, and then the end of the second book was dramatic and traumatic. Alright? Both things combined. It was awful. But amazing, obviously, because I picked up the 3rd book. So this is about Fortuna Sworn. She is a nightmare. So a nightmare is a person who is able to, or a creature who is able to take out your worst fears. Sense your worst fears. She touches you. She knows what all of your phobias are and all of, like I said, your fears. And then she can use those to literally melt your brain. So yeah. So that's our female main character. Basically, the first book starts out with her brother being kidnapped by a fairy court. It's specifically one fairy lord. She agrees to marry a fairy prince in order to save her brother. And then shenanigans ensues. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend. You know, we gotta support our self-published authors. KJ Sutton is amazing. Seems like an amazing person. I've never met her, but she seems like an amazing person. You should check out her social media, but you gotta support, you know, our indie authors. So this had to make part of the list, alright? Last. I'm telling you guys, this is 10 books. 10. Last but not least. The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. So I've heard such good things about Becky Chambers, and I'm fairly excited to start reading like her whole... I'm hoping that I fall in love with her and I get to read a bunch of books because I'm always recommended these books. This was one that was on my March TBR, like in the vicinity of being read, but I didn't get to in time. From my understanding, I actually haven't read the synopsis. I don't think I'm going to, but this is a sci-fi and it's based off of like an extraterrestrials point of view on Earth and humanity, and it's very like, obviously it's more witty than that, and there's actually a plot line, but that's kind of the general idea, the general vibe of this book, and I'm intrigued. I'm interested in it. I kind of like that perspective, and I feel like I probably, for sci-fi for me, so like, I need like, we're not space opera, like I need like low sci-fi. Does that make sense? Because you know how there's like low fantasy and high fantasy? I find that I need low sci-fi, and like these books make me think of that, where it's science fiction, but it's not too much where I'm completely lost, aka Warhammer. Warhammer's my husband's thing. It's my thing too. Like, I appreciate a good Warhammer book, and I appreciate the lore, but I always have to ask him about it because I don't quite understand everything. They're actually kind of dusty on the top. In fact, there are probably several books on that shelf that I need to read as well as far as sci-fi goes, but like, no. low sci-fi is what we're at right now. If you guys have any recommendations for this kind of vibe, send them my way, because like I'd be interested in reading them. That being said, that's the list. That is the stock. I'm excited. You know, so this has been a while since I've been so excited about a TBR, and I think it's just because I was like, screw it. I'm not going to reread any books. I'm not going to read any classics, even though I probably will still end up reading a classic. I'm just going to read what my heart is telling me I need to read. Also, by the way, if you have stayed this long, I figure that you need a spoiler. Like, you're gonna be, I'm gonna include you in. I am doing a vlog where I read Throne of Glass for the first time, and along with all of this, I should be reading, tandem reading Empire of Storms and Tower of Dawn. I'm marking them, so they're on my desk over there, as far as like tandem reading, so I know where to flip back and forth. Yeah, so you should check out that vlog. Make sure you subscribe. Like I said, you stayed this long. I gave you the spoiler. Go ahead and subscribe so you know when that vlog is coming out and you guys can check it out. If you've read it, you can relive it with me, which I'm finding some of my buddy reading friends are reliving it with me because I literally cannot stop talking about it. And if you haven't read Throne of Glass, maybe I can convince you to pick it up, because that's another spoiler. I am enjoying it quite much. I think it's actually what spurred this. But yes, I'm allowing myself some grace this month, and we'll see how many of these beautiful books that I can get through. Alright, I think that's it. Like I said, make sure you comment down below any recommendations you have based off of this, or if you've read any of these books, what your rating of them was. No spoilers, alright? Or if you want to buddy read any of these books, please just comment. DM me on Instagram. Ask. I am more than happy to do a buddy read with you guys. In fact, it helps me get these books off my TBR, because otherwise there have been several books I probably never would have read. But yeah, that's it. That's it. I promise that's it. My outros are always like 3 minutes long because I can't stop talking. But I will talk to you guys later. Make sure to subscribe, like, and comment. Alright.